I have a lot of baby hair. Hello, my friends, it's Dane, and for today's video, I decided to share with you my story, my experience in the modeling industry. So, if you're interested, just please keep on watching. So, before I talk about my experience in the industry, I just want to kind of like explain to you guys how I got into the industry. So, I was introduced to modeling when I was about 15 years old, and that was because a lot of my close friends were actually already models during that time, and they were already signed to this particular agency, and they kept approaching me because I was always so introverted, and they just thought that it would be a nice opportunity for me to experience new things and branch out. But I was really hesitant to accept their offer because I thought it was a scam. Didn't really believe it. I was scared, I was skeptical, all that jazz. But yeah, those were kind of the reasons why I didn't really get into modeling earlier. But after a few months of kind of like thinking, I thought to myself, why not? Since there's an opportunity anyways. So after much deliberation, I decided to contact one of the sister agencies of my friend's company. And so I joined one of their workshops that they were offering for aspiring models. And in this workshop, we kind of had like 4 weeks of training. Training, is that the right word? So we would meet every weekend, Saturdays or Sundays, and we would have kind of like the first half of it would be like kind of like our lecture part, wherein they would lecture us on how to pose, how to angle our body, how to take care of our bodies as models, and so on and so forth. Basically, the things that you just need to really know before you start modeling. And after that, the second half would be kind of like a photo shoot. So this would kind of be like an application of what we've learned during the first half of the training session. And there's little birdies. Can you guys hear them? I'm sorry. But anyways, as I was saying, um, we had like 4 weeks of that. No, the workshop was 4 weeks, but really the training was kind of like only 3 weeks, because we at the fourth week we had kind of like a catwalk already, and the catwalk for me was, at least for me, was a final assessment, because it was the last chance for me to just show to the other managers, other agencies, my potential. And it was kind of like a final shot for me to get a contract, because it was an opportunity for aspiring models who participated in the workshop and that catwalk to be signed to other agencies if they did a good job. No, all of those stuff. But anyways, we had this catwalk, and it was held at our local mall. And I ended up walking walking in the catwalk for like 2 sets, which is unusual for a trainee, because most trainees were only allowed to go out of like have 1 set in the catwalk. But in my case, I had 2 sets because one of the in-house models couldn't make it on time, so I had to substitute for her, because basically I had the same like body proportions and waistline and everything, and I ended up substituting for her. So that's why I had 2 sets, and that's why I had more time to kind of like display what I've got, my potential. And so after that catwalk, I ended up like the manager of the company I was having trainings with decided to offer me a contract after that catwalk. And I was really happy because I felt a sense of achievement because, of course, I was introverted and this was way, way, way out of my style. Like modeling was like really at the back of my mind. But like I didn't really expect to get offered a contract, but that's what happened. I got offered a contract and I was really happy because it was kind of like not everyone who went into that training got offered contracts. We were like 10 to 15 people and only 4 people got contracts, got offered contracts at the end of that workshop. So I was really happy, and after reading through everything, like the contract itself, discussing with the manager, I finally decided to join the agency, and that's how I became a model, essentially. So now that you guys know how I got into the industry, I'm just now going to tell you guys the work that I did when I was a model. So please take note, this does not reflect the collective experiences, thoughts of the models in my agency, because even though we were all models, we had different experiences, different kind of like work expertise, and so on and so forth. So all of the things that I'm saying right now would be based on my opinion and experiences alone. So just please take that into consideration. So when I was a model, I only did like 3 things. And the first thing that I did when I was still a model, and probably the most common thing that I did when I was a model, was workshops. So there were 2 kinds of workshops that I did. The first kind of workshop was like the workshop for aspiring models, and this was the same workshop that I like did to get into the modeling industry. But the only difference now that I was a model was I was kind of like acting as a guide slash a teacher to the aspiring models, and just telling them, advising them on what to do, what not to do, and just sharing with them my experiences in the industry. Whether or not I was a good teacher, I don't know, but I like to believe that I was. So anyways, the second kind of workshop that I attended to was workshops for models. And when I say models, it was for contracted models. So in this kind of setup, it was more strict because we already had signed with our respective agencies. So they already expected a set of professional values from us. And basically, yeah, it was more strict. It was longer. It was usually longer than the workshops for aspiring models, and they had more kind of like professionals, professional speakers in those kinds of workshops. And basically, the agenda of these kinds of workshops was to not only improve our knowledge or skills in modeling, but it was also used as a tool for models and agencies to kind of like expand their network and like help them to, what do you say, like collaborate and get to know other agencies slash models. So that was the second kind of workshop that I did. And the next thing I did as a model was photo shoots. So photo shoots, nothing really much to explain. You just dress up in whatever the designer slash manager has provided for you, and you just pose as beautifully as you can in the camera and just sell it out there. But in photo shoots, there are 2 kinds that I'm aware of. And so the first kind is commercial, and I'm not really an expert when it comes to commercial photo shoots because I never had one in my 2 years of modeling. But based from what my friends said, commercial photo shoots is just kind of like advertising. So it's like things that you see in billboards, in magazines, in TV. My stomach is crumbling. I'm so sorry. But basically, yes, that's commercial. That's commercial photo shoots. Sorry. The second kind of photo shoots that I'm like aware of is for high fashion, and I'm more like experienced in this field because this is kind of like the direction that the management was pushing me in. So I'm more well aware. I'm more like well informed of the system in high fashion photo shoots. Shoot, dang it. But anyways, in high fashion, it was strict, at least for me, because my stomach is growling. I'm so sorry. But anyways, high fashion, yeah, yeah. So for me, it was way more strict because we had to be a certain height, weight, shape, and we just had to maintain our body all the time, and we had to carry ourselves in a certain way all the time. And so that was kind of like really tiring for me. And what I've observed from high fashion shoots is that the theme is always, like, not always, but mostly kind of like dark, serious, badass kind of vibes, as compared to the commercial photo shoots, which was more lighter, much more kind of like happy atmosphere. I'm not saying that in high fashion photo shoots it wasn't happy. It's just that the themes were just a bit more darker than commercial photo shoots. That's why I'm just saying this. But anyways, yeah, photo shoots are the second thing that I did as a model. And the last thing that I did when I was a model was catwalks, and I had more experience in catwalks than photo shoots, so I'm more aware of the process of like catwalks. And so in catwalks, we had like it was the process for catwalks kind of like goes like this. So there would be kind of like a design, like a layout of designers for the, how do I explain this? How do I explain this? Damn it. You dress up in whatever clothes the manager slash designer has given to you, and again, you go out of the catwalk and just slay it out there. That's it. That's a catwalk. But there's a long process to it before we reach the like final catwalk. So we have like auditions for the designer. The designer kind of like picks us out to be in their sets, and then after that we have a fitting, and after a fitting we have a rehearsal, and after the rehearsal we have a dress rehearsal the night before the actual catwalk. And my stomach is growling again. I really need to eat, but I'm just gonna finish this video and then I'm gonna eat, I promise. And basically, yeah, that's a process of a catwalk. And yeah, that's a process. Oh, also I forgot. We had like a system in modeling wherein, like, if a designer books you initially and you do good in their work, they would like probably want to hire you again as their model. And so what if that happens several times, they might request to the manager for you to become a regular model in their sets. And so what that means is that for whatever projects that designer has for that year, you as the regular model has like almost 100% chance to participate in the same project as that designer, because like I said, you're already a regular model, the designer likes your work, and so yeah, you just get to participate in like a lot of their works. So an example was that for me, like I stated earlier, how I kind of like substituted one of the in-house models because they couldn't make it on time, and so the designer for that set that I was substituting for actually asked for a photo of mine when the catwalk was finished, and he liked it. And after talking like after talking about it, he asked me whether or not I want to participate in his next set, and I said yes. And after that, I like throughout the whole year, like whole 2 years that I was doing modeling, I was always participating in his sets and his works, and so that was amazing. It gave more opportunities for me, and it was kind of like a sense of stability for me. Like I always had work to look forward to in that year because I was a regular model for one of the designers. So that was the system that we had. So now that you guys know how I got into the agency and basically what the nature of my work was when I was still a model, I'm just now going to discuss to you guys why I decided to quit modeling at the end of the day. So, again, a little disclaimer, there are a lot of good sides in modeling, there's a lot of good things, good people out there who would support and help you reach your dreams, but there are also a lot of negative aspects to modeling, and it depends upon the person. Really, it depends upon the person. So the things that I'm saying right now are just based solely from my experiences, and again, does not reflect the collective thoughts of like the model, every model out there. So I'm just gonna explain to you what happened to me. So first and foremost, I was pressured. I don't think, yeah, like no, hell no, it's not a secret that to be a model, you need to be a certain height, weight, shape, and you need to like strictly adhere to those standards. And the crazy thing was, I got into the industry when I was so young. I was 15 years old, and I was already 5'8" and 55 kilograms that time. And I think I was borderline underweight or already underweight. But yeah, those were essentially my, like, that was essentially what I started out as when I entered the agency. And so in our agency, we had this rule that you had to be at least a 24 or 26-inch waistline. And the crazy thing was, my waistline was like 27 inches, and so I didn't really fit into that standard. So the manager kept he kept telling me that I should lose weight because my waist needs to be thinner, and really it didn't really bug me at first because I was a kid and I really loved my body. I didn't really see anything dislikable from it, but like after months of him just telling that to me, of course it affected me badly, and it just really put a lot of pressure on me to lose weight and just like be thin, really thin, and I was really pressured, and this led to my next problem, which was body dysmorphia. And it's a really hard thing for me to talk about because this really affected me, and I was going through it alone. And essentially, couldn't really talk about it with anyone, even my manager, because he was the one pressuring me, and so since he was always pressuring me, always bugging me to lose weight, always telling me that my waist is too big, and well, not only my manager, a lot of people also were telling me that my face was too chubby, my thighs were too big, I was too fat. yeah, I got a lot. Like, I got that a lot, and it just, like, they kept telling me that, and of course I started to believe everything that they said after being exposed to that kind of environment for such a long time. And now that I started to believe in whatever they said, I also started to see what they saw bad in me. So, like, every time I looked at the mirror, I would just feel a sense of disgust, because I would just think that, yeah, they're right. I'm fat. I'm not really suited to become a model. And I just really started hating my body, particularly my waist, because it was the most targeted part of my body. So I just really hated seeing myself in the mirror. And this happened for like a year and a half. And this led to my next problem, which was eating disorders. And and again, this was really hard for me because no one really knew what I was going through at that time. I had to go through it alone. And since I was going through it alone, I didn't really have any people to go to for advice. And the only thing that I thought of during that time was to just lose weight, go on a diet, because if I do that, then maybe everything would be solved. I would be more happier, they would accept me more. And so I started going on this crazy starvation diets wherein I would limit my calories to about 1,000 a day. And that's not enough for me. That's not enough to sustain my body. I was 5'8", I was 15, and I was still growing. And it was just really so hard for me to lose weight because I was already so thin. You could already see my clavicles. I was already 55 kilograms, and I wasn't just really losing weight at the pace that I wanted to. And so I decided to just starve myself more. And I remember the most dangerous meal that I had was like only eating 2 bananas and 1 egg in a day. And guess what? After that day, I fainted. And I felt really scared because I knew that my eating habits were already becoming a problem. But at that time, I just didn't really wanted to quit modeling, or just like, I wanted to prove to everyone that I could be that person with a 26-inch waistline. So I continued on with my diet. And the problem with this was that I would deprive myself for several days of like food, necessary food and nutrients. And after several days, I would finally snap, and I would just binge eat and just like eat whatever things I could just get my hands on. And after realizing that I have just like reached like after realizing that I had eaten more than 1,000 calories, I would just cry because I would just think that I'm a fat fucking pig who can't control her mouth. And after crying, I would just eat again because I thought that it's done. But like, what do I have to lose? I'll just eat and then I'll just starve myself again tomorrow. And so I did that, and it became a cycle. And it was getting to a point that it became so damaging in my body. Physically, I could see already changes. I was fainting more. I was fainting in public places, and that really scared me. Mentally, I couldn't really think properly anymore. Like, my grades were like dropping. I couldn't really concentrate anymore. And just emotionally, I was just always so sad. I was always just so depressed. And at that point, I just realized that maybe it's just time for me to quit modeling. And so I did. I did quit modeling just because I wanted to be more healthy, just wanted to focus on myself more. And I just finally wanted to accept myself again. So that's why I quit modeling. So the last part got a little bit emotional. I'm really sorry, but I've just been struggling with these things for the past like several years, and uh, those topics are just really close to my heart. So I'm really sorry if I got emotional. But anyways, yeah, that was the work that I did, my experience, and yeah. So now that you've heard about it, maybe a lot of you guys who are thinking about going to the modeling industry might be scared of like the things that I said right now, but I can assure you I'm not trying to scare you guys. In fact, if you want to if you want to proceed to become a model, yeah, just go. It's fun. But I'm just trying to make you realize the reality of the industry, because the industry has always been portrayed so glamorously, like it's a luxurious lifestyle, but there are a lot of problems that can occur inside the industry, and it can really affect you. And so my advice is, if you are planning to become a model, is to just really listen to yourself, because a lot of people out there will just degrade you, will just put a lot of ideas in your head, and you will experience like a lot of times you will experience a lot of people judging your body, judging your work, so on and so forth. You just really have to have a strong mindset, and you just really need to learn how to listen to yourself, and just like tell yourself that you know your worth, and that you know that whatever they say to you isn't always true. So that's my advice. Listen to yourself before you listen to others. Yeah. So anyways, guys, that's my whole video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you want me to talk about other stuff, then just please comment down below. I'm always open to talking about the things that you're curious about. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and just subscribe, and thank you very much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.